How's it going, guys? I got Travis here with me today. We're going to talk about living as an expat in the world and how to make some money while you're doing it. Let's go. So Travis, good to have you here.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So tell us a bit more about yourself. Where'd you grow up and where have you been living over the last 20 years or so?
Okay, great. Yeah, so a long story, but it's great for a YouTube video, so that's good. So I guess the first way I started out, I was born in Tennessee, but I grew up mainly in New Jersey. Went to school out in New York. I've been in like the East Coast area for a while, but I had an interesting childhood where my parents were actually Christian missionaries. So the interesting story about me is I've been to over 90 countries. Actually living in some of the greatest places, some of the not great places. But the interesting thing is I've got to experience a lot, even as a very young child. So from that, I got to take those experiences. And at a very young age, I realized that, hey, I should travel the world. So that's what I've been doing. I got an interesting experience also as an internship when I was kind of in my teenage years, 16, 17, 18. Where I worked with an internet marketer who we experienced a lot of things. And this was in the late 90s into the early 2000s. So it really put me in an interesting position. And I know you're going to ask about digital nomading and things like that. So that's probably a good segue.
Yes. Well, first, if we could, I want to kind of dig into where you've been living. And then I definitely want to get more of your experience with working. So let's take the last year. You know, where have you lived? Where have you traveled in the last 12 months or so?
Awesome. So last 12 months, I've been to about 6 or 7 countries, but I think the most unique thing that people find interesting is that I lived in a small area called Cordova on Mactan Island, pretty much near where we are in Cebu. And that's an awesome experience because people think of first world, third world, but you see a lot of mix of where there's third world, but then across the street from me, my neighbor owns 3 Rolls Royces. So it's an interesting experience because some people think the Philippines doesn't have it all, but it actually does. There's a little bit of everything for everybody, and I hope we touch on that too. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, is the Philippines a developing country? Yes. But is there a lot of money in the Philippines? Yes. There sure is. Now, I think we might say, you know, the money's concentrated in perhaps too few hands. And so, you know, I know for me personally, I'd love to see more everyday Filipinos making more. And you do see a little bit of growing of the middle class over here. But for expats over here, I think that, you know, a lot of people will say, if you move to the Philippines, you just got to be retired because there's no way to make money over here. Would you agree with that?
Oh, well, I'd say I do know people that are making money. So I can't agree with that because I know people making good money that like are not from here, that moved here, that are actually making money locally. So, but I would say if you don't have the connections, you should be doing something online, right?
Sure.
We're in a great opportunity right now. I believe we're in the greatest time to live ever. Because it gives everybody the opportunity to make something out of themselves. Particularly what I like is people building a personal brand nowadays because it's so easy and it sets you up for whether you want to be employed or have your own business.
Yeah. So I want to get into what you specifically have done. But before we do that, you know, you've met other people like myself, different people that are making money in the Philippines or living as an expat in different countries. What would you say are some of the better ideas? Doesn't have to be exact specifics, but, you know, industries or things people could be doing that you would recommend people at least explore?
Well, that's a challenging question because you have to have talent. You have to have something that put some skills, right? So if you have the skills, first, I would refine that skill and I'd be the best that you possibly can at that skill before you go to another country or explore anything else, right? But once you have that skill, the next step is, I would say, learn something on top of that skill to make you better than the other people around you. Because it's fine to move somewhere and think you're better, but there's everything under the sun. I hate to limit myself and say, these are the 5 things you should do because there's so many things. But one thing's for sure, I think you should definitely incorporate something with the internet, something where you're building a personal brand because that sets you apart from somebody else. Even if it's a company brand with a team and you're building that team as a brand, do that, but have something else that sets yourself apart so you're not just another guy or gal out there doing a service or having a product.
So definitely so many opportunities online, things that people could do. What about if somebody said, I want to go to the Philippines and I want to have a brick and mortar business? Would you tell them run for that? Or would you say that, well, there is some opportunities there as well?
Yeah, brick and mortar, I think it comes down to the 3 words you hear in real estate: location, location, location. So you have to know where you want to be first and how you're going to differentiate yourself. once you have that, then once again, it's anything under the sun. But where I see super opportunities for people, I have to think about this one, but I see opportunities where you can differentiate yourself from being from somewhere else and then coming here, right? So one thing's for sure, Philippines has lots of options. Cebu has some of the greatest options for food, but I can tell you, if you have a unique restaurant idea or some sort of awesome style that you can charge a premium price for, then you have great opportunity here. And I would always be thinking about premium price. One important thing to say is, like, I know it's very sexy right now to be an entrepreneur, and like there's lots of people out there, like it's shifted over the last decade. It used to be, before that, it used to be, hey, I want to be an athlete, or I want to be a pop star, or I want to be somebody that's famous. But now the person that's famous is the entrepreneur now. There's been like the Gary V's of the world and all these other, the Grant Cardones and things like that. Now they're the celebrities. But I'll say that it's still okay to have a job. And there's lots of opportunity for you if you can, maybe you're employed right now, you can talk to your employers and say, hey, like, yeah, let me first, I really want to work from home. I have some things that like I need to take care of, and I'm really doing the best of my job. I'm the best employee you have here. Hey, could I start working from home and do the job from home and prove to you over the next 3 to 6 months that I can actually do it? And then after that, like I want to take things abroad. And then once you prove it, then you pretty much, the world's your oyster. You prove to your employer that you're still the best you can be, not being at the office. Like you can live anywhere in the world and still probably make better money than if you were an entrepreneur and go through all that and take a lot less risk. So I have to put that out there before I even think of some opportunities of businesses to start, because digital nomading is getting bigger and bigger, and it's a thing because of the advent of what happened during COVID. Now more and more employers are open to the possibility of you actually working from home or working anywhere in the world. And if you work a job where you're able to actually detach yourself from the office and it's not sensitive, where if you let something slip, the world will implode, then you have a big opportunity to work anywhere in the world and probably make more than a business owner in terms of income.
All right. Yeah. So one thing you mentioned that I think it's good for people to hear, and I've mentioned on the channel as well, is anything over here that you do at a premium that costs more money. And so often people here in the Philippines think, well, it's a developing country, so we can't charge that much. And so they'll just make a few pesos profit per sale. And that's a way to kill a business. You need healthy profit margins over here. And I think that for those that are considering potentially starting a business here, think high. Think, what can you sell to, Travis's neighbor that has the 3 Rolls Royces? That potentially could be a good idea for a business over here, because there's just not as many people catering to people with money in the Philippines. Now, I want to get more into you personally. So you've been living overseas for how long?
On and off since 2002.
Yeah, I mean, that's you look very young to have been doing that for a long time. So you're hiding your age well, but that's a long time.
Yes,
I'm sure you've done different things over the years, but what are you doing these days?
Yeah, so these days I have a digital marketing company, and we operate in a different way where it's purely performance based, which is could be high risk, high reward, right? And when you do that. But right now I'm transitioning into a couple things. I have 2 startup ventures, one that's been successful so far, and another one that I'm starting up with the help of the island of Puerto Rico. So I'd love to talk about that. But my bread and butter right now is actually my lead generation company. And I recommend if you have the tough skin to do that, because it's a great opportunity for you to earn a good amount of money and feel really great about what you're doing, because you're not just offering like a marketing service, you're truly growing a business too. So yeah, there's a lot we can talk about there, but running a marketing company is really how I've been able to do it and travel. And there's been different avenues and different things that I've done to actually grow that marketing company. But at the end of the day, what has made the most money is actually sending leads to businesses and proving to them that I can grow their business with my service, and then they pay me handsomely for it.
So if people are looking for that kind of help, feel free to share. What's the name of your business?
Yeah, so I run a company, and I have to stress this. It's for high volume, probably what we consider medium-sized businesses, medium-sized, let's say in let's say US terms would be 50 million in revenue and above. So kind of medium is a different thing in different places, but a business that has employees and is a real business has a sales team. And what we do, we generate leads in about 75 different industries, everything from insurance to debt settlement to all different types of home services like solar, kitchen and bath, even interesting things like bathtubs for seniors. We're in some interesting niches working with law firms. The list goes on and on. And it's awesome to do that because I have an entrepreneurial brain and I like to jump from thing to thing, and lead generation allows me to do that all within one business.
So tell us, besides for that, what else are you working on these days?
Yeah, so it's really become an interesting thing where I've done the lead generation thing for more than a decade, and I'm really focused on building a brand now in a unique way. I have an interesting opportunity where I have companies actually fund my brands and build my brands, and in return, I actually grow their business. So I have a site that I want you to check out. It's Timeshare Travis, and if you go to timesharetravis.com and Timeshare Travis YouTube channel and on all platforms, and you'll get to see how I'm growing a lead generation brand. And the interesting thing is this will be my 400th plus time doing a brand like this, but my first time actually putting my name on it. So with that, I have a lot of marketing chops along the way. So hopefully you'll get to see the best of the best stuff. In addition to that, what I have is I'm actually been invited to join an accelerator out of the island of Puerto Rico. And I have to mention, I've been all over the world, 80 plus countries, and I've come to the conclusion that Puerto Rico is the best place in the world to start and grow a business. Not only because of the tax the benefits that you get there, but also because of the support and also all the credits in the form of tax credits that you get there, to all the way down to zero tax. If you can believe it or not, you can do that. Talk to your attorney, but you can do that. So it's a great opportunity if you're interested in a startup. The one that's supporting me is called Parallel 18. So you can check that out too. But what else?
And actually with that, Travis, so you mentioned the accelerator and that you're part of that. They're not easy to become a part of. Not everybody's going to know what that is. So can you also share what an accelerator is?
Yeah, it's a way to grow your business with the support of people that have already done it before. An accelerator provides support not only in the form of being able to go to a physical office, but also the connections of that local area. So which is very important. So an example, in an island like Puerto Rico, not only like is knowing Spanish important, but particularly knowing who knows who and how to navigate through a place that's very relationship based. An accelerator will help you do that, along with big investments from very wealthy people that are interested in finding the new idea, new opportunity. They're there for you, and it makes it easy to pitch them and offer them the opportunity to work with you and you work with them.
Very good. So Travis, it's been great to hear your life experience. You definitely have an interesting journey, having traveled so many countries and figuring out how to make, money overseas. For those that are, watching and thinking, man, I live in, the US or England or wherever they may be, and I want to go to the Philippines or I want to move to another country, but, I'm just a bit nervous to make what feels like a very big step. What might you say to those guys?
Take a vacation. Start with a vacation somewhere, make it at least 2 weeks, preferably 2 months of where you think your ideal place is. The great thing about where we're at right now in the world with the information age and even YouTube and things like that is there's somebody likely where you want to be right now making YouTube content about it or some content online. So find that person, make sure it's somebody that you feel like you would want to hang out with, and follow their content, like, subscribe, follow. Probably they'll offer you a consultation, paid or free, and do that. And that's actually how I found John. I said, hey, I need to meet with you. What do I need to do? And I did what I needed to do, and that's why I'm here today. So I recommend you doing the same thing, but first start with a vacation. Then from there, make sure you like the place. I recommend stay at least 2 months if you feel like, hey, this is where I want to be. Don't just sell everything and then come to somewhere, a remote place. But that's what I suggest. Start with a short trip and then take it from there. And then, of course, network. And I would say pay to get in the rooms where you want to be. That's the biggest lesson. Invest a little bit of money so that you don't make the mistakes, because moving overseas, there's unlimited mistakes that you could make not knowing what you should know.
Great advice. Well, Travis, thank you so much for making the time to, connect and also to be on the channel today. Guys, make sure and check out a link to what Travis is doing in the description below. If I could be of any service, check out my links there as well. And as always, guys, thank you for taking the time to watch. Take care.